television highlights of the news of yesteryear.
Welcome, everybody, to the wrap-up. I'm Tom Connors. Joining me tonight on this very first show is a very special guest, Mr. Paul Chato. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm pumped up. I'm glad that I have you to kick things off with, because
Then you're just talking to yourself.
Otherwise, I would be just talking to myself, yes, at this point until everybody else gets here. But no, thanks for being here, man. And I wanted to pick your brain a little bit before everybody got here anyway.
Sure, we're going to have some fun.
Absolutely. You were telling me you just watched the new Amazon show.
Yeah, Peripheral.
People have been asking me about that. What did you think?
Well, it was neat to see the lead from Kick-Ass in it. I didn't read
Taylor Johnson or whatever.
Yeah. What's her? No. Grace.
Oh, the girl, Chloe Moretz. Okay, got it.
And she's cute. I mean, she's a stunning.
Yeah, she's a decent actress, especially considering how young she got started. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's the kind of trashy sci-fi kind of stuff that I always sample and then generally get disappointed with. Now, you just told me that it was a William Gibson story.
Yeah, well, you kind of looked it up and realized it yourself. And like Andre had brought up last week, the only thing of his that I'm real familiar with is Necromancer.
And I read
Johnny Mnemonic, if anything. But
Johnny Mnemonic, which basically it dissuaded me from reading any more Gibson, because as a geek IT programmer guy, he got pretty much everything wrong from a technical perspective and drove me nuts. I went, this guy types on a regular typewriter and does not know dick fuck all about computers. And so that pissed me off. And the movie was even a worse rendition of his novel. I've always thought that Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash was a response to William Gibson's trashy, stupid IT shit, because Neil Stephens, the Snow Crash has everything right in terms of how a future IT experience might be translated. Now, we know more now since Snow Crash was written. Snow Crash, even that feels out of date now. But I just thought it was Neil Stephenson saying, my God, Gibson, you can't write worth crap. You don't know anything about IT. And this, I'm going to do one that is going to be a good sci-fi IT computery future story. So yeah, what did I think of the first? Well, it ends really well. I thought it was kind of mystery box-ish at the beginning, all sorts of mystery people, and everyone that she's talking to in her cyber world is British, which they have to be.
I switched my phone over to the British voice because I don't like being told what to do by just some standard sounding voice. I like
Correct.
To be British.
In the future, everyone will be a British.
Turn left here.
Hello.
You fool. Go back. You missed the turn.
Your door is ajar. Your door is ajar.
You're fucking lost.
And what's interesting is that this thing is taking place in Arkansas or Alabama or someplace, and everyone's some good old boys, but they're all doing VR shit and talking about, drinking beer. Like it kind of disconnected me from
kind of a stereotype of
no. I mean, it's kind of weird that you think about this future, but why not? Why can't people in Alabama play games? But then there's this whole sci-fi thing about drugs and these special drugs that they need to cope. And okay, that's fine. I mean, I'm just trying to catch up with the world.
So is it like a virtual reality thing, or is it
so it's very much like Sword Art Online, if you're into manga and anime, where once you're in the online world. It looks like it's heading towards the fact that
Mhm.
once she's in this online world, that she has to stay in it, or she dies. So if she dies in
Oh,
the
okay.
online world, she's going to die corporeally. I think that's where it's heading.
So it's kind of like Ready Player One meets Nightmare on Elm Street.
And Sword Art Online. Yeah. If you
Yeah,
watch,
I'm not familiar with that
I'm
one,
an
but yeah,
anime
I
guy.
kind of see where you go. Yeah, I'm not the
No,
yeah.
I'm an anime dude. So and Sword Art Online, the anime is just brilliant. The first two are absolutely fantastic. Two of my favorite animes. So yeah, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but it's kind of this weird thing. I couldn't really get into a bunch of good old boys who don't really understand how to who are into VR and these special drugs and this cyber. So it's a weird cyberpunk Alabama mashup, which I didn't quite get into. And yeah, and then there's these mysteries, and there's this guy that she meets in the virtual world, who suddenly tries to contact her in the real world, and I don't believe, I mean, the way he did it, I don't believe for one bloody minute that he'd be able to do that. But that's me, as the nerd, talking about that. Red Paul Chato is as Paw Patrol.
Yeah, he's so Kyrokin is so tired when they read your
Oh,
name in the title. They read it as Paw Patrol. Yes, Paw Patrol is here.
woof, woof. I'll take it.
Yes,
Hail.
but
Hi,
hail
Isaac.
everybody in the chat. Thank you for being here, and I see Mrs. Flu is now a member. Thank you for that as well. But yeah, so not like
So
quite.
it ends. So the
Yeah.
first episode ends with enough interest that I want to see the second show. So I'd say it was okay. There were things that pissed me off in that William Gibson bullshit way, but I kept. I mean, again, the writing is kind of forced, and the direction is a little bit too twee. Thank you, director, for showing us how brilliant a director you are. It's funny. James Gunn has a lot of directorial pyrotechnics, but you just never see it. You don't see it. He gets you in and has the camera following somebody's ass, and it's in tight, and oh my god, he just really
Phrasing.
really gets you involved, whereas the direction in this is kind of
No, you're right, and that's a good point, because
stop
there's a
it
lot of
stop
directors.
showing me how good a director you are.
There's a lot of directors like that, like J.J. Abrams, Zack Snyder come to mind, for instance, where they have a lot of directorial, what do you call them? Not
Flourishes,
Easter eggs, but things where when you see it automatically, it's a J.J. Abrams movie,
right?
or it's a Michael Bay movie,
Right.
And it's just from the visual style, right? Where James Gunn is different. You're right. You can tell it's a James Gunn movie, but not from the visual style, but from the fact that you get into it and the kind of characters he likes, the way he kind of tells a story, kind of like Scorsese or Tarantino, right?
You get lost. You don't notice direction. Oh, and like the first in this, like, a crane shot, another crane shot.
Tropes. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Like, do I need another crane shot? Although there's a good story about a crane shot. Burt Reynolds, who was directing his first movie, and I don't know if I told you this, but his story, I heard him on Johnny Carson talking about this. He was scared to death, and then he was waiting for the Hollywood technicians to rip him to shreds over his lack of directorial facility. And then he was talking with the AD, and he says, I don't know what to do, or somebody. And he said, when you first walk on, just put your hands on your hips and call for a crane shot. And he did. He just walked onto the set of his movie and went, okay, I want the crane.
I can't remember. There was another story kind of like that.
And then everything was fine after that.
Yeah, there was a young director who didn't quite know. I think it was Orson Welles. Where I can't remember the name of the cinematographer that he worked with for Citizen Kane, but the two of them wanted to work together, first of all, because the cinematographer was a veteran and he knew what he was doing.
Sure.
And the cinematographer wanted to work with Orson because he's like, you never learn anything new unless you work with somebody who's never done it before.
Right.
And whenever Orson wouldn't know what the hell he was going to do, he would go, dolly track. So they would just lay dolly track down for a couple hours till Orson would figure out how he's going to shoot something or do something, and then they would do it. But like, yeah, it was kind of like his way of helping Orson not look like he didn't know what the hell he was going to do.
Oh, that was nice. Yeah, Orson came up with a lot of unique moves, primarily because he was never told that you don't do them.
You can't do that. Yeah, like when he ripped the floor up for Citizen Kane. Yeah, he couldn't get it any lower, and he's like, "What? We can't do anything unless you rip the floor out." And he comes in with an axe and he starts banging at the floor, and he's like, "Well, let's do that.
Let's do that."
I love that.
So the show started slowly, but I like the lead. I'm not a big fan of her brother, but it ends kind of in a very precarious way, and I'm not going to spoil it. And okay, I'm going to watch the second one. I've also watched the first episode of speaking of James Gunn.
You watched? Yeah, that's right. The
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker. Yeah.
Hilarious. And I can't remember the actor's name who was the T-2000.
Robert Patrick.
Robert Patrick. He is having a great time. It's so much fun seeing an actor ripping it. Just, you can see this. I'm going to have fun with this role. There's no holding me back. And it's, again, it's similar to Peripheral. It's trailer trashy kind of Ozark America. And I don't think people realize what I won't say anti-American, but it's real good commentary on, American society in the same way that Wag the Dog was. People who watched Wag the Dog.
Satire.
It's real satire. I can imagine people going, "Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, hang the shoes over the wire. That's fantastic." No, you're being poked fun at.
Well, Andre loved it.
One of my favorite movies.
And I saw the first episode like you did, but it was a while ago. I haven't gotten back to it yet. But
you haven't seen what'd you think of it?
What I saw so far, I was like, oh, kind of impressed, because I didn't like John Cena in the movie. Like, and I get we're not supposed to like him in the movie, but I just didn't like him in general. Like, I've never been. I have a thing, like, it's funny because The Rock is in the big movie this weekend,
right?
Where I've never been a huge fan of wrestlers who try to be actors afterwards, because it never really works out. Outside of Hulk Hogan and a few random ones who are kind of like their own persona, and it's the same thing with The Rock, right? He works well enough. He's probably one of the better to have made that leap. I'll give him that. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, and I'm not a big fan of wrestlers who try to turn into actors. And Cena was one of those where he just, and kind of Batista was the same way at first too, until he kind of warmed up to the acting thing too. But like, and then I see him in the show, and I'm like, okay, so I see where they're going with this. And I totally
Cena is not afraid to debase himself in that first episode. I mean, that whole thing with that vampire girl, and he's nude and he's going for it. Like, not a single person in that first episode of Peacemaker held back. They're making fun of everybody. It's great. And that sorry group of people that Waller sends off to manage him, and they don't want to be there. They were the losers from the last movie who sort of turned on her, and she's now giving it back to them. I mean, it's so good. Like, every character, what they're after, what they don't want. It's super. Anyway, I can't say enough of that first show. And someone, Mexican Iron Man says it just gets better with every single episode.
There you go.
Anyway, so there is good stuff. There is good stuff out there. And certainly Peacemaker, the TV show, is better than the Rock thing, this Black Adam,
which you did see.
Yeah. And I enjoyed it, and the audience really enjoyed it. And was it worth a 3 out of 5? Probably not. But maybe, I think in my mind, I've created a new scale of superhero popcorn movies and regular good movies. We should have 2 scales, because we can't mix them. It's just impossible. Because it's not for all intents and purposes. Black Adam is not 3 out of 5 when if you start comparing it to all the great movies and piling them up and going, oh, French Connection, Serpico.
Right.
Where does Black
It's no Gone
Adam?
with the Wind, right?
No, it's not. And where does it sit? I mean, if you're going to be comparing it to the classics, then Black Adam's 1 out of 5. I mean, however, but in terms of what we're up against now and the relentless bombs that Marvel has thrown at us.
Well, there's two ways you can look at it, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, because I think we had this conversation on Friday and just before the show again, where I said, this is a kind of movie that Ebert and Siskel would have argued about, because what your point is exactly what they would be arguing about. Is Gene would be like, this movie was nothing but noise. It was 2 hours of The Rock acting out on his, egotistical, misogynistic interest, and there's no story and blah, 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 thumbs down. And then Roger would be like, what the fuck do you expect? It's called Black Adam. It's a movie about a bad guy. It's in the world of Shazam, and, he's kind of always been a nerd, so he would get that. But, he would be like, it delivered on what it promised. It didn't do anything more. It didn't do anything less, Gene. You're just being, pretentious. And in a way, you're making a good point, because Gene would also be making a good point as far as a movie compared to something like Chinatown or The Exorcist even, or what have you, Jaws. No, not even in the same league, I'm sure. But when it comes stacked up to other superhero movies, it sounds like it's nothing but a lot of fun. It doesn't ask you to do anything more than just enjoy the ride.
So we need a separate.
And, you could be right on that. Yeah.
I saw one quick comment from Critical Drinker where he said it's a movie.
Yeah, he didn't seem to like it as much as everybody else.
No, but
I'm not surprised.
But the people who didn't like it are also right. Like, it's not a controversial movie. I can see why they don't like it. I'm not arguing with them.
Well, the best part is you don't have people going, well, you didn't like it just because The Rock is this or that or the other, not white, whatever point they want to make or whatever. Yeah. And I think that's the big thing. And not only that, I mean, the critics are trashing it, but now if this was the opposite and the fans were trashing it and the critics were all for it, then we'd be getting called istophobes right now for not supporting The Rock. Right.
It is an unbelievably diverse movie, independent of The Rock being Samoan and Canadian. Half Samoan,
Andre,
half Canadian.
I didn't get a chance to see it yet. I wanted to today or yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to. But Andre, when he saw it, he said it seems like there probably was a lot of diversity stuff, like the woke nonsense in the movie, but they cut it out. He said it seems like, at least that's the way he feels. Like they probably had some notes, and then when they went through the reshoots and everything, they chopped all that nonsense out just to kind of make it streamlined. And that would make sense. It sounds like a quick 2-hour film, and that's what you want out of your superhero movies. Is I want to be out of the theater in 1 hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours tops.
Yeah,
in most cases, but yeah.
The big question for me, and I didn't put it in the review, was this is kind of a pseudo-Arabic community, it seems, and Atom Boy is Jewish. So why did they let him in? See, no one talks about this important stuff with me.
Thought he was Egyptian, but yeah.
No, who?
Originally, I think Black Adam.
Oh yeah, and Black okay, and Egyptian's not Arab, Arabic at the time. That came much later, but
right.
In modern times, those kind that slash Egyptian-y kind of communities,
gotcha,
Middle Eastern, became Ottoman and Arabic. So Arab and so Atom Boy being Jewish with Winkler as a dad. I was surprised that they sent him in there, because that could have been really controversial.
I don't agree with Henry's politics, but he's not in enough movies. I'll tell you that much.
Who? Henry Winkler?
Yeah.
He's
not in enough movies.
He's funny. Actor. He's great.
Alex Kurtzman's unemployable little bitch says, has anyone seen Jason Momoa on Apple? It ended and it's so great. Momoa can actually act. It's about a world where everyone is blind and 2 kids born can see. Now, this is the Nemo.
No, this is called C.
This is something completely different?
Yeah, it's a show called C. And I
thought he was doing that little Nemo thing too.
No, I don't know. But this is what he's referring to as a show called C. And yeah, I haven't seen it. I don't have Apple TV. I think this is the 3rd episode, and then that's it. They're done. I think they've done 3.
So it's like a limited series thing.
Yeah, it's a limited series. Like Momoa is fine. I mean, okay, if we're grading actors, big lugs, Momoa is a better actor than
hell yeah,
than Dwayne Johnson for sure. And Cena, he is really good in Peacemaker. I mean, oh my God, he lets himself get debased, and it's his ears. I think it's his ears that are problematic for being a really good actor, and his face is kind of squishy too. But yeah, he takes Mickey.
I guess it's in its third season and it's 8 episodes per season.
8 per season.
So there you go. So it's called C. Okay, I'm not aware of that one. I know he had that.
And is it any good?
I guess he said it's good.
Kurtzman, little bitch. Is it any good?
He said it's good. That's what he said in the super chat. Yeah, he said he enjoyed it quite a bit.
Wow. Okay.
Said it's great. There you go.
Oh, you are giving us money. Let me get my G string so you can put it directly.
Well, I got pictures, you know. At least one.
So yeah, it's nice to see promising stuff out there. And we'll see whether Peripheral holds on. Just with regards to Johnny Mnemonic, I've always wanted to know why abbreviation, the word is so long, and mnemonic isn't.
You know, that's a good point.
Mnemonic is not mnemonic.
Yeah.
It starts with an M.
It's true.
How
abbreviation is such a long ass word. That is so true. It is. And yes, Olaf, I do have shorts. That's true. Well, and Alex says, well, that's the thing with Apple. They just want to make good content. I hear that sometimes, and then other times I hear they're making nothing but woke business over there too. So there is that as well. But other than that, so what have you been working on lately on your channel? I know you've got what is it, 1971?
6.
Is that the one? 6.
It takes me a while to do these, but yeah, I'm working on this. This is a fun one. This was a good year for TV.
Yeah, even it a little bit.
Even though it's fun to have one failure after another and kind of make fun of it, it just wears you down when you're reading your script. It does. It gets to you. So when you have something good to talk about, it's actually better. But it is funny to talk about the stinkers and what's behind them, and why did people even think of pitching it, and how did it even get on the network? And the thing is, back then, I don't know what it's quite like right now, but each network would literally pay for maybe 50 to 75 script pilots, and each one would shoot at least 25 at, maybe $1 million a piece even back then. And then they would put 3 on and all of them would die.
Yeah.
And then they would do that each year. Each year.
Have mid-season and all that.
Yeah. And well, some of them would come in mid-season. Some of the mid-seasons ones were hits. Rejects. After the initial one was
and then became hits. Yeah.
Canned one big the Jeffersons was a mid-season.
Yep.
Policewoman was a mid-season. And they replaced wretched shows. So it's interesting. Why did the network pick the bad show? Now, one of the reasons they might have picked the bad show is if you let me pull this up here. So
while you're pulling that up, we actually have another guest joining us. Who's making his debut on Midnight's Edge After Dark, actually. Someone I don't think you've ever met before.
Oh boy.
May have heard of. Mr. WDW Pro himself. How are you doing? Have you met? Okay.
Yep.
That's right.
We have been on together, but it's always an honor to get to do so.
Hey,
so,
I always make sure, though, that I'm a good host.
Well, thank you so much. How's it going tonight, guys?
We're having fun.
Glad to have you.
We've been talking about stuff that we don't usually talk about, which is great.
What is this stuff you've been talking about?
Peripheral, a brand new Amazon show I just saw.
Fantastic.
Which is
kind of
so William Gibson.
Us about his TV guide videos.
Yeah, so I was just talking about why do crappy shows sometimes get on first. You can't really read this, but there's a hit show. I can't. Where am I doing this? It's not.
it's like being the weatherman for a moment.
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, that could be a hit show on NBC, and then you put in a new show that's completely different and opposite. So you got a male-driven detective show, and so they put in some kind of more female oriented show there or something like that. And the counter
you
programming
could talk for hours and hours and hours about how the programming used to be.
Yep.
Especially back when there were, the big 3 and the big 4 channels that people had, and that was it, and my gosh, just how much effort went into it. How many shows were either made or destroyed by the time slot that they were given. And a lot of times it had nothing to do with the people who were creating the show. It had everything to do with an executive who had an opinion that was either genius or, well, not so genius.
And one of the shows.
Go ahead.
I say one of the shows that comes to mind has a recent counterpart that's also getting canceled now, for other reasons, and that would be Quantum Leap.
Oh,
the new one show made a. Yeah, I heard it's
the new one
canceled.
is getting canceled.
Yeah, I heard it's done.
I heard it's stinky.
Yeah. Well, the original show was technically a hit, but they kept moving it around for some dumb reason that made no sense to anybody but themselves, it seemed like.
Not even Ziggy can explain it.
Yeah, not even Ziggy could explain it.
The networks never understood sci-fi fantasy stuff. Never.
Yeah.
Well,
I could never get understood it.
Quantum Leap was a fantastic show.
Yep.
And, back then that was a tremendous concept that they came out with. Today, we sort of have the advantage that it's been there and people know to come out and do new things with it. But the idea that you could have him play the part of a woman and bounce him in and out with a guest actress who was playing that part. Yeah, it was revolutionary for that time and for that idea.
Yep.
Yeah. That was a great show. And that was the thing is first of all, they made the mistake of debuting it up against The Simpsons. That was their first mistake. And then they moved it, I think it was to either Mondays or Wednesdays. And then it finally got moved to the graveyard of Friday nights. And that was it. That was all she wrote. And that was technically, and I'm sure Paul can tell you what the graveyard of Friday night is all about.
Yeah. Friday was always a really bad time. There was a show that broke it open. It might have been the Smothers
the TGIF block seemed to do okay for a few years there in the 80s.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. When it got moved to Fridays, was TGIF already established? I think it was, wasn't it?
I believe so, because
it was going up against TGIF. It was going up against the family program.
All that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. The Friday was the graveyard for television shows, but there was a TV show, and I think it might have been Smothers Brothers because CBS tried to kill it, put it on Fridays, and became a monstrous hit.
Oh, you're talking way back. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because
the only other Friday hit I could think of that was like a hit despite itself was X-Files.
Yes.
That's the last time I can remember one of those happening.
But that was also on Fox.
Yeah. And then I think they moved it to Monday, didn't they, eventually? And that's when it really took off. I think it was Mondays, yeah. So I think it took 21 Jump Street's time slot originally and then took off, yeah. It's either Sunday or Monday. I can't remember which.
Yeah, the whole business of counter-programming is great. I mean, the other thing that the networks, one of the reasons that you saw shows die is that if a network was in a very powerful position and had fantastic ratings and were at the top of the advertising food chain, they would kill shows very quickly. Whereas NBC, for a good chunk of time, was at the bottom. And so they really had no choice but to keep shows on the air. Because it was expensive, to try to crank out new shows. Knight Rider was on Fridays.
Yeah, that would have predated TGIF. Yeah.
Yeah. So Knight Rider was great schlock.
That was an NBC show, though, wasn't it? Knight Rider.
It was an NBC show.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Knight Rider, A-Team, all those were wonderful shows, which is what I compare Black Adam to. Black Adam is kind of the A-Team of movies. Go in and enjoy it.
So you guys may have already talked about this, so I may be coming in this kind of naive to the conversation prior, but how much does it matter in today's time, now that streaming is here, for the shows that are premiering on cable or on the networks? How much does the programming time matter in today's climate?
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm interested to hear Paul's take on it. I know because now they may measure it in minutes watched within a certain amount of hours when they drop. So I'm curious, Paul, how do you think that affects things differently than it was back when you would premiere it on
the problem with the way things are right now is that nothing is special. That's the thing. You can't, like, before you could kind of make things special, or you would have that Thursday night lineup with Cheers and Frasier and whatever, that massive, phenomenally strong Taxi or whatever it was. And it was fun to anticipate spending a few hours on Thursday with NBC watching your favorite shows.
And you joined in with the rest of the country to do so because
Correct.
everybody was doing it.
Right. And then you would talk about it the next day. And that's actually one of the things that streamings has taken away. But I mean, obviously, streaming is what got rid of the TiVo, right? We were heading towards streaming regardless. That's a train that you could not stop. We had these devices that could shift time, videotape. We would tape a bunch of shows. How many of us had more tapes and more content on those tapes than we could ever watch? Yes, Tom Connors. I have. Welcome everybody. I have too many shows that I have not watched.
We actually had a system, like especially early on when VCRs weren't cheap, and like if there was something on that you wanted to record and you knew that there was nothing on your buddy wanted to record, you would throw tapes at him and he would do that for you for then you record
hooked up the 2 VCRs to the 1 TV. Is that what we're talking about?
Or you could do that. Yeah. Or the other thing I love, because I lived in a rural area, so we literally had like 13 channels and half of them were repeats of networks. So I had like two NBCs, 2 CBSs, and so on, 2 BBSs, all that kind of garbage. So really the only cable channels I had growing up were like TBS, if you could consider WGN a cable channel. And then eventually we got like ESPN and CNN and a few other randoms, but we never had like any of the major cable networks really. We didn't even get a movie channel until I was a little older. And that was Cinemax over HBO because it was cheaper for the cable company to get. But regardless, so what I would do is send out tapes to my cousins and my uncles and aunts and stuff. And that's how I would get movies off of HBO. Nice. And I would get all the comedy specials like George Carlin and all those. And I would get Beavis and Butthead eventually, South Park, those kind of shows that were, I couldn't get my hands on. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, Paul. I was a taping fool.
Yeah, and you have no time to watch it.
No.
And that's really what the streaming channels have done, is just taken over.
Oh, and look at this guy coming in here show that mug. Speaking of television, welcome, Valiant Renegade. Show the mug off you just drank out of.
Hey, I hear the king calling, no Sally.
Speaking of Cheers, the spinoff. There you go.
There you go.
One of the funniest shows ever, Frasier. Anyone asks me about writing sitcom, it's one of the most, if you know about sitcoms, it's one of the most mechanical sitcoms to write.
Yeah.
And
smart,
if you're gonna,
too.
Pardon me?
Smart funny too. It's not the lowbrow crap.
Too. But it's what I call, it's a thesaurus dictionary encyclopedia comedy, where you go, okay, I need a famous painter from the 1600s. Okay, go into Cézanne. Okay, because it's nothing but expensive wine references, art references, architectural references, furniture from the turn of the century.
It is kind of like, if you're a writer, like from your point of view, isn't it kind of like the graduation from the Cheers format?
Yeah, well, listen, Cheers was good too. I'm just saying that.
Well, no, I mean, like, because that's the basic, like, you have your substandard. This is your home base. You have a goofy cavalcade of characters.
Right.
But now if you were teaching a class about writing sitcoms, like, you would start there for that lesson, and there you go. I was curious, because then, like, would you jump to something like Frasier as like the next level? Be like, okay, so now you've started, here's like a baseline. This is what you can do.
Well, I would start with what is a standard sitcom. And the most easiest one to start with, if you're going to try to just dip your toe in it and write an episode, is Frasier.
Okay. All right.
That's all I'm saying. Okay. Because it gives you so many extra tools to be funny that use juxtaposition and things like that. So, Woody Allen stopped writing comedy because he said it was too easy. Well, his style of comedy was juxtaposition. And I can write a Woody Allen joke, very, very quickly. And right. one of his fun jokes is, is there life after death, but will there be a beverage? So that's a Woody Allen.
Will there be beverages? Right.
Yeah.
And somebody who is not nearly as neurotic as Woody is Mr. Script Doctor. Holy cow! I am surrounded right now by. Like, this is an Avengers level group right here.
You should do new time slots more often.
Right?
Avengers Unite.
Good
I
afternoon
read
or
in the
evening,
paper that my
Spectacular.
wife was accosted on the street and said she was violated, but knowing my ex-wife, I knew that wasn't a moving violation. Like, if you want to go Woody Allen jokes.
That's right. I ran into a car. The man got out of his automobile and he told me to go forth and multiply, but not in those words. I love
the
love
funniest
Woody Allen.
canceled men in history. That's
Have
for
you
sure.
read his Madame Bovary short story, Woody Allen's Madame Bovary
No.
short story? Oh, it's brilliant.
I have not. I'm going to write it down.
Yeah, no, like what's funny about that, and this is why I actually don't feel so bad. I mean, I get it. I know he's like a canceled person, but I watched Mia's HBO thing, and afterwards I'm like, I believe her less now.
Yes, I saw that too.
It's like whatever it was you were trying to do with this, it went the complete opposite direction.
I completely agree with you. You are one nut crazy woman.
I mean, I feel sorry for her daughter, because if her daughter believes that, I just have a hard time believing the story. I
don't want to relive.
No, I don't want to get into that, and I'm not trying to. Yeah. No, but for those who may be like, I don't know, Woody's kind of like weird territory here. It's like, nah. At this point, I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah, I love sitcom. I love sitcom, and then I love the mechanics of sitcom. And people argue, oh yeah, but you got to break the rules. No, you just hide the rules by writing well.
Yeah.
Well, and a show that forgot that was She-Hulk. To be honest with you, not to drag that.
Oh
into the mess.
yeah.
But Valiant only has like 20 minutes, and I'm sure that's something he has a thing or two he could add into.
Valiant is the man of stats. We should talk to him.
I was going to say, he recently did a video about Andor and how Star Wars may be a dead franchise.
Who cares about Star Wars?
Or dead brand.
At least not evergreen.
Yes.
Dead brand.
Yeah.
No, the only thing that's been evergreen for Star Wars has been the original trilogy.
Yep.
And even that has been in question lately, just because of there's nothing new to invigorate it, and what they have had has been not that well received. I mean,
yeah, the toys for the original trilogy have been the same for the last 25 years.
Yeah,
couple of new additions, but it's the same. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're right. I was just gonna add to that. I mean, it was funny because even I think it was 2 earnings reports ago. I want to say it was the one from May, where during the earnings call, part of the report that was made for stockholders and to put on file with the SEC had noted that, they usually give you like a range, right? They say, okay, for this, we got better than expected results because of X, Y, and Z, but we had higher costs because of, D, E, F, whatever. One of the things that was a little illuminating was that they had an expectation of weaker merchandising sales, but merchandising sales, while they still weren't as good as they had hoped, they were still better than they had anticipated. And they specifically mentioned classic Star Wars in the report, not Star Wars, not Mando Grogu, specifically used the word classic, and it was even written in the report. So that's one of the shining areas for that right now. Like Mando and Grogu's been great, but we haven't had Mando Grogu now for how long has it been? Since the late 2020. So it's been 2 years almost since we've had it. Because last year, 2021, we had Boba Fett at the end of 2021. Mando was a year before that, or something, or maybe around
it was
that
the
time,
winter before that. Yeah.
So
other than Grogu, I believe the most popular non-classic Star Wars character was Cara Dune.
Yep.
And they capped her.
They sold more Cara Dunes than anything else.
Yep. Besides Grogu and Mando and themselves.
Grogu. Yeah.
So a quick point on this, Valiant just brought up the fact that in one of the financial deals, they actually specified that they were talking about the classic Star Wars in terms of revenue. And one thing that you might skip over is that somebody somewhere inside the company decided that they wanted you to know that there was a difference. They wanted you to know that they were bringing that to your attention. And so a lot of times we just present that data, we just present the information, and we move on. And you don't think about the meta that's going on in the background inside these companies where somebody wanted you to
from a conspiratorial perspective.
Yeah, see,
perhaps But I think more importantly, it's because, Pro and I have done a number of these reports lately from sources that have contacted him from the toy industry, right? The people that actually pay the big licensing fees back to companies like Disney to acquire the rights to make these products. And then, of course, Disney also gets a piece of the pie when they sell. If they go over a certain amount, they get a piece on that back end. They get some residuals. The toy manufacturers have been well aware that, look, we've spent a lot of time, effort, and money in the production pipeline producing a lot of toys for things that just don't sell that well. They wind up at the discount bins.
Well, there was the Rise of Skywalker fiasco as well.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is that I think they put that in the report basically to highlight the fact that, look, this is what's keeping, by and large, with this particular IP, Star Wars, right now. Because, again, at that point, we hadn't had any new Mando stuff in a year and a half to kind of continuously drive that. But I think they were making a note to saying this is what's keeping the toy manufacturers happy right now is classic Star Wars. That's what's paying the licensing bills.
And and this is what I was trying to say is we're at a worse point now than what we were between episode 1 and 2. And I know people hate hearing it when I bring it up, but that was the first time I remember this happening was the toy manufacturers got real upset, and so did like the fast food restaurants and the other tie-ins, because they spent a truckload of money and they had a lot of leftover merchandise from Star Wars episode 1 that didn't sell. So by the time you get to Attack of the Clones, you notice there's a huge drop off in the merchandising, right?
Yeah, it's
you're seeing the same thing here. Yeah. And Grogu, I agree with you, is not going to last. Like that ship has almost sailed. And even James Gunn was smart enough to know that Baby Groot was not going to last for much more than like a movie or a few other ancillary things. And that's why he kept aging him back up, because he knew it wasn't going to last long. The cute factor only goes so far. Yeah.
Right? Well, I think honestly that probably played, whether somebody like, and we can have this debate, whether a guy like Favreau, whatever his intention was with what happened with Grogu after the end of Mando season 2, there may have been some pressure from licensing divisions. No, we have to get Grogu, Mando have got to stay together because that's the only thing we're selling right now, right? And they probably came back as like, and everybody was upset with the fact that the end of Boba Fett basically undid what they did at the end of Mando season 2. It's like, oh, never mind. They're right back together 3 days later, whatever.
Although counterpoint, how much would Jedi Padawan Grogu have sold at the next holiday season?
Well, that would have been the thought, but I don't think they wanted to wait. But I think that's, look, don't be surprised. That does play a big factor into, some of these decisions that get made for good or for ill. That
don't mess with what's selling.
Yeah, and when you got something that's selling, I want everybody to think about this for a second. We talk about classic Star Wars. If you've been to Target or Walmart or something, that sells a lot of different stuff, and they got their toy aisles, or even just a straight up toy store, which there's not that many left, I guess. But if you look at it from this standpoint, when you see, go down the Lego aisle, and what are they selling with Legos?
Star Wars.
Well, but what Star Wars? It's it's the R2-D2s,
yes.
Millennium Falcon, Death Star,
right.
The classic Star Destroyers, all that
X-Wings,
kind of stuff. The X-Wings, right. Classic Star Wars.
Dagobah playset.
How much from the sequel trilogy? The only other thing you see besides that is maybe Mando's ship or Moff Gideon's ship, or stuff like this. But there's
oh, never mind.
Yeah, again,
makeup kit. I use that all the time.
What, 5-to-1, 10-to-1 classic Star Wars versus new Disney.
A lot of superheroes, a lot of Star Wars, but a lot of it's, again, and it's across the board. It's the same kind of thing. It's not this new Marvel stuff. It's usually a lot of callbacks to the Avengers style stuff. Sure, they have the new stuff, but Lego is one of the few toy brands that still sells to both kids and adults, right? Going back to the figures part of it, that's the thing that they know more so now than they did then, is that kids don't really buy toys like they used to, or at least the parents don't buy their kids toys like they used to. It's people our age that are buying these figures and toys. That's the main base. And frankly, we're just not interested in a crap like that. What we're interested in is this kind of stuff here. Notice this says classic Star Trek on it. There's a reason for that. That's Spock. That's the new Spock. Here's the new Khan.
Mm-hmm.
And
here's a question for you guys,
for the 40th anniversary of Khan. Yeah.
There's a common thread going through. You guys were talking before about Quantum Leap and how that was such a great show. It got moved around, and that ultimately damaged it. But then they came out with the new Quantum Leap. It's already been canceled. And we're talking now about Star Wars, how it had the magic, then the magic's gone. And I'm just curious, is there anything out there right now that is playing to nostalgia and is doing so successfully? Top Gun Maverick notwithstanding. So let's just leave that to the side. We all know that did phenomenally. But is there anything out there right now that's doing what we wish it would, what we wish Star Wars and these other properties would do?
I think we should ask young people that question. I mean, how old was I when did Star Wars come in? 76?
77.
77.
So I lined up in 77. And I was in my 20s. We should be talking to people. Anyone here in their 20s on our panel?
Not on our panel.
I'm in my 30s.
We shouldn't be talking with old guys. I mean, there's a certain. I'm doing a video. I'm in the middle of writing a video on one of the aspects of fandom we don't talk about, and that is its totality with, between the product, the obvious corporate selling of those products, which we appreciate. I'm not dissing capitalism. I want my figurines. Okay. I've got Reboot figurines and I've got, from Pixar, but we created our own art and we would hang it on our walls and we would make our own t-shirts and we would share things that we made ourselves. This was bigger than just the toys that the corporation sold to us. And that part is gone. Like all the tiny bits of fandom, the things that we appreciated and shared amongst each other, that's dried up.
No dioramas anymore.
Yeah, those were big for me.
Yeah. I remember that too.
Yeah.
That's the part we need to be looking at.
Is part of this because of the decentralization of so much of our culture that used to connect us, where we could have these shared experiences at a larger scale, and now everything is so,
I'm sure that's part of it.
I think it's a little
saturated if that's part.
It's saturation, but it's also product we're not interested in. My daughter loved Sailor Moon. She drew Sailor Moon when she was a kid. We have Sailor Moon dolls and pillows and slipcovers still in our house. So, you know what? The Sailor Moon stuff is not the Disney princess stuff. She was never really interested in it. She loved her girl superheroes. So, but we're not getting that anymore. That's the question that we need to ask. We need to ask the 20 and 14-year-olds and 20-year-olds what are they passionate about?
Well, and that's the thing. TikTok, yeah. No, but I think you brought up a good point there, Paul, is that instead of creating a new market for like the middle ground, right? Like girls that like superheroes are not into My Little Pony and Barbie, but yet they're not quite into the more aggressive things like Avengers and stuff like that, or Star Wars. I could see that as a market that they could have opened up. Instead, they're trying to replace the males with the females. And this is the same problem that Masters of the Universe had. And that was when the women's department took over the toys, it completely destroyed that franchise, which at that time was the biggest toy franchise ever, because it actually beat Barbie. Mm-hmm. And they got pissy and they're like, well, they're never going to beat us again. And lo and behold, they never did. The closest thing that ever came since then was like Ninja Turtles. Maybe you could consider Pokemon, but yeah.
None of the people who have taken over any of these properties, whether it's J.J. Abrams or whatever, ever drew their favorite superhero or whatever on a t-shirt and got their and asked their mom to never wash the t-shirt,
or got their parents to make them costumes of their favorite superheroes. Let's just
my daughter, we painted her sliding doors to her closet with a special blackboard paint. She's got drawings of her favorite female superheroes in chalk that she's 30 now, but she will kill us if we wipe them off the chalkboard.
Right.
Oh, just put a clear coat on there to protect it.
Good idea. But those are the things that were important. I don't think any of the women who ran She-Hulk ever had fun with She-Hulk in any way.
What an excellent point.
My point.
I think the cast had more fun with She-Hulk, but in all the wrong ways to have fun with She-Hulk. When you see some of those videos, you're like, wow, they had a lot of fun making that. why couldn't they have that fun writing it?
It looks just like the behind the scenes of Ghostbusters 2016 all over again. That's what it looked like to me. It's like, it's very reminiscent. A lot of dancing around and fucking around. It's like, if that's what girl power is all about, well, guess what? You're not getting a good product on the other end. I'm not trying to knock girl power, but that's what you're like promoting here. And that was the same kind of shit I saw with Ghostbusters. So like kept putting out these videos of the girls doing nothing but like dancing around all day long and doing whatever. Like, it's the same kind of shit. And it's like, too bad your movie wasn't funny. I'm glad you guys are having fun making this, or at least you're trying to portray that, but
nah, I bet they did.
We found out from behind the scenes when it came to Ghostbusters, there was a lot of backbiting and crying and people fighting. And
if you're having fun, if it's an enjoyable experience, it's going to come through at least a little bit somewhere. There is no part of that relayed joy through the TV.
Yeah, and that's my point: is where are we getting joy from? My daughter liked ballet and Irish dance, and those were her heroes.
Speaking of ballet, somebody who's a hell of a ballet dancer, I'm sure, is Paulie.
Tippy tippy toe, tippy tippy toe.
Perfect form.
Hey.
What's going on, fellas?
My LA brethren, how you
talking
doing?
About fandom.
And how toys don't sell, and sadly kids aren't inspired enough to draw on walls or t-shirts. Actually, that's a good question. How many kids nowadays draw on the wallpaper and get up and piss off their parents? Do they do that anymore?
They just draw on an iPad now.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, how many kids actually have crayons or markers anymore? Script, that's the thing.
And they're far more edible nowadays than they were when I was a kid.
What, you didn't like those lead crayons, man? Come on.
They tasted better.
My kids didn't get a phone until they were in grade 8.
I hated my kid.
My first phone, I was in high school.
Yeah, I got my first phone. I was like 17 or 18.
Yeah, your parents were good.
Actually, it was my mom's hand-me-down because she got a better phone, and she's like, "Here you go."
I wonder how many of us, if handed a phone from the 90s, could still text using the number pad.
Yeah,
remember
the muscle memory return?
Wait, which one?
I'm just saying, would the muscle memory return that quickly? If you held one of those phones right now, would it just instantly, would it be like riding a bicycle where you go, oh, yeah.
No.
Probably not, because, I mean, you do it manually, but you have to, like, press at any one of those numbers, like, multiple times to get the letter you want. Or if you're lucky enough to have the T9 section, if you were a Bell customer, it would randomly pick, or it had an AI in it that would accurately predict most likely what the word you were trying to write was if you did it fast enough.
Unless you can spell like me.
Yeah, it was like Bell Motorola thing. I remember this like 1999, 2000, back when you had a flip phone and you didn't have to worry about a broken screen because it was already protected.
The Motorola, the original Razor.
The Razor, yeah.
Like
that was
OG
the hot
Motorola
Hollywood.
flip.
The Razor was the hot Hollywood phone. Everyone had one.
96, 97. Oh God, I remember.
And I remember when the BlackBerry replaced the Razor, and people were panicked. Like, I remember working at the Paramount, and there's this big bowl of just old Razor telephones there. It's like, yeah, grab one of this if you're not cool, and we'll page you on it. I'm like, okay, just give us the serial number on the back so we know which one's you.
Yeah, people are addicted to crackberries.
I was about to say that is what started with the crackberry addiction. I remember that. It's just when you had that full keyboard, and God, now I can get email on here. Holy shit. It's like, oh jeez and beans.
So one of my little cousins, she's pretty much a writing on the walls and very imagination. The parents really encourage that. She's a good wild child, so that's still alive.
All right,
it's still alive. Yeah,
I don't see a lot of kids playing outside like you used to, riding bikes and all that kind of shit.
Oh, parents are afraid of their kids being kidnapped.
Well, not only that, like just as in general, as a parent, you don't even know what you can and can't let your kids do anymore. I remember reading a story where a guy had gotten in trouble and lost his kids because he was a single father, and his older boy was walking the younger boy to school, and somebody complained about it, and Child Protective Services got involved. Like the older boy was like 8 years old or something like that. I'm like, shit, when I was 8, I was responsible for getting my brother out of bed, feeding him breakfast, getting him dressed, getting him to the bus stop, and making sure we both got to school on time. Like, why is it now that the father's getting blamed for this when the kid's being responsible? what the fuck?
I mean, was the school like 10 miles from the house or something?
I
or
don't
what?
think so, but I mean, maybe it was just the neighborhood and perhaps it wasn't the best of situations, but they obviously didn't have a bus that would pick them up. So like
So
clearly, yeah.
yeah, the area in West LA that I grew up in, as far as like being a latchkey kid, having to walk to school on my own, walk back, that same route probably I could never do as a little kid today, just because first of all you'd run into
That I can
some homeless
understand,
some
yeah.
homeless customers,
Mhm.
because you got to go through over and under a freeway.
And a Tentville, yeah.
I mean, so yeah, we we're kind of the last of that dying breed, man.
We're also running a really cool worldwide experiment to see how kids grow up and how they turn out if every single year is a new global catastrophe that you didn't see coming. So what happens when you play bingo with world tragedies over and over and over? These will be great adults.
Is that going to be the left's version of the Military Industrial Act? Is instead we have the World
Pharmaceutical
Disaster
Industrial
Act?
Complex?
Yes,
Yeah.
Pharmaceutical Industrial Complex. Yeah.
I
Well,
love
I'm
how a
starting
lot
to
of them are
think
coming
that,
out now and finally figuring out or admitting that, boy, look at all the damage it did with kids out of school these last, for that whole year.
Oh,
where
you
test
think?
scores are down. It's like, boy, we really didn't consider that. I'm like, yeah. You didn't consider that. The rest of
Everybody
us
I'm
else
just thinking
did.
we've turned the whole world into a sitcom, right? So every year is a new
Mhm.
episode. We got to
Well,
run a different script because we all
and the
got so
worst part-
abundantly rich and wealthy. We had to, a little too comfy. We got to create some stuff.
Not only is Valiant right because
Mhm.
they're out now coming out and admitting that it was not only a bad idea, they're realizing the repercussions and they're worse than some of us could have ever imagined. They're saying that now we might be 20 years behind in like math
Oh yeah.
and some other things with the way the situation is because the
Did you
kids are
They
in
were
guys-
20
school.
years behind on math before this started.
We already were. That's the
Yeah.
problem, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Now it's
yeah.
40.
You guys saw the news article where they were in somewhere here in the United States, maybe in North Carolina,
Yeah.
they were designing a more lethal version of the thing we've had to fool with for the last few years. And I read that and I was like, oh, look, it's the latest teaser for the next episode. I don't want to be part of this, but like, what idiot would do this?
Well, you can only hope that because they're
keep this thing
copying
going.
it. You only hope that because they're doing it locally in America, that it's going to have the half-assed America approach, so it's not going to be as effective as predicted, but probably even worse.
I gave the governments a pass on the first lockdown only because
Right.
we were in completely new territory.
Mhm.
But after
Same.
that,
Same.
it just showed utter incompetence in terms of analyzing the data and what things they had to do moving forward. They had no idea. Just
Yeah.
none. And I'm an expert because I'm on this panel.
You're such an expert that you have.
And I don't want to get too deep in the weeds into that, but
No,
Valiant
no.
actually has to
That'll
head
get you
out on us
struck,
anyway.
yeah.
So
Va-
So why don't
Valiant
you,
is Black Adam going to survive another week?
Define survive.
Like not plummet to by 80%.
I think it's
Yeah,
gonna
No,
change.
no, I don't think it's no. I don't see anything like
It's got nothing
80%.
coming out up against it this weekend. It's got that going for it.
It's got a couple of horror films coming out,
That's
but they're
it,
not
yeah.
big. Yeah.
Yeah, that shouldn't technically really be in competition with it. Look, I think that it's got a good chance because the audience response has largely overwhelmingly been positive. Okay. That's always a big key. Now the problem is that from where it started to where it needs to get to, just from a box office break even financial standpoint, it's got a long way to go. It's got to defy a lot of historical norms for movies of this type. You're talking about it's got to go from $150 million worldwide opening, which for, again, 90+% of movies that come out, 95% of the movies come out would be gangbusters, right? This is a $200 million supposedly production budget film. It's probably got another 100 million in global marketing, if not more. Hell, Top Gun Maverick spent way over 150 million marketing the damn film. That was on top of the 172.5 budget.
Yep.
So this movie's got to get to like $600 million to hit the break-even point. And like Pro and I were talking about earlier, it's not like the old days, even when I say old days, hell, even 5, 10, 15 years ago, where you had a very different post-theatrical marketplace for these films where they could make their money back over a couple of 2 or 3, 4 years, and it was fine as long as they had a good box office run. they'd get millions more in the back end. Well, now these movies, not all of them, but I mean, at least the ones from like Warner Brothers and especially Disney, they just get dropped on their proprietary streaming services. And that's all she wrote, folks. They might pick up a few PVOD sales and maybe some physical media sales. But we know physical media sales have gone down the tank.
Well,
that's why
Top Gun is like really something to celebrate. It's just its longevity. That's like old school. Wouldn't you agree, Valiant?
Oh yeah, it's going to be a long time before you see a movie that opens north of $100 million, leg out to like 6x to 7x. That's bonkers. That is just bonkers.
Well, and I posited on your show.
90s. Yeah.
Well, and I posited earlier on the show to Valiant that maybe, just maybe, we could see Black Adam do something similar. Now, I said never would it in a million years get to the point where Top Gun did, but it has a few factors going for like Top Gun did. And that is that The Rock is mostly a likable actor like Tom Cruise. This movie's not preachy. And people are having fun. Right. And Top Gun had kind of a soft opening too, but it just kept legging out. But anyway, continue, Valiant, and then WDW's got to head out right after you as well. So we'll give
The Rock
both of you a few minutes to give some final thoughts here. Yeah, and fan service, exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's because look, Black Adam has a shot. It's a long shot right now, just based on the historical norms. Now, if this thing gets to the second weekend and it's got a 50+% drop off, I'd say that's going to lower the odds that it's going to reach the point it needs to reach, right? Just theatrically speaking here, folks, just theatrically speaking. However, if it has a really good week, like I'm interested to see what the Monday and Tuesday numbers are. That's going to be really telltale. But if this gets to next weekend and it has 40% in the 30s or whatever drop off, then hey, it's got a shot. It could hang tight and really just kind of slowly work its way out to where it might cross the $500 million mark. Which I hope
that's
it will.
Kind of charitable, yeah. But yeah,
I said it might.
Goal.
It could. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I know, Script, I totally agree with you, but
the best worst case scenario that Warner hopes for is like what, 500 million we figured earlier, Valiant?
I think that would right now. I think they would be thrilled if it got to that point. They should be thrilled if it got to that point. And I'll leave y'all thinking with this in Pro. And I know you got some thoughts on this. We talked about this earlier. Here's the thing: what Black Adam could do is set up something for the future, because we know the toy manufacturer is not really thrilled with the fact that Disney did not recast T'Challa. They really needed a male superhero in Wakanda forever. If Warner Brothers is smart, we talked about this earlier, they're going to dive in on this, and they are going to try to capture the audience, the male father and son audience, especially Black fathers and sons, the audience that Wakanda forever is probably going to leave behind. The toy manufacturers have already called this. If they can get Black Adam to grab that audience, this could be a big win long-term for Warner Brothers, but they got to hop on it. If they probably have already, so any case. But thanks for having me on. Great first show. This is great on the Sunday, show.
Great to stop by. Thank you for the help, Valiant. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope this continues to grow. And Pro, I know you got to bail out as well. So go on. We'll bug you out.
We've been at the grindstone for a while.
Yeah.
Well, you guys were talking about cell phones earlier, and we were also talking about how entertainment has lost some of the joy it had. And I was thinking about cell phones and how that gives me a little bit of hope, if you can believe it. And the reason for that is the younger crowd who's watching right now, they may not remember, but all of you do who are on the panel right now. You guys remember that for a very long time, the secret sauce to getting people excited about a phone was how small could you go? And there was even the skit on SNL with Will Ferrell where they had the tiny phones that you had to open with tweezers. And that was, that's right, exactly.
Yeah.
Zoolander.
Yeah.
And then guess what? That's right,
Zoolander.
Zoolander. And then we hit that moment, right? Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone, and all of a sudden it became about, going the opposite way as fast as you could, to the point now they're trying to design these phones that you fold in your pocket and pull out like a 1980s atlas, trying to figure out, or your map to figure out where you're going.
Do you know what was the genesis of the first large phone?
What was it?
Because Samsung and the other manufacturers could not pack as much technology into the same space as Jobs did with the iPhone. So they just made it big.
Okay, let's segue. They can't pack any less joy into the shows they're doing right now.
There you go.
They've got to go the opposite way.
I think you have a great parallel.
And Pro, before you leave here, Alex Kurtzman is an unemployable little bitch. Has a question for you. Is woke ending, and can geek IP be saved?
Well, woke is not ending. There are trends from the 80s which are no longer as popular, and so woke will continue, I'm sure. What it will morph into down the road, who can say? It seems to me that it's mostly a way by which people feel good about themselves when they don't deserve to. But and as far as will geek IPs be saved? Well, of course they will, as long as you help direct the companies that make the stuff you like by holding your dollar when they don't do a good job and giving it to them when they do, by holding your view time when they do poorly and tuning in when they do a great job, then you'll be able to help course correct them along with the rest of society. So I'm very optimistic in those regards. There are other things in the world that I'm not optimistic about. When I read all these stupid headlines, I think the next thing they're going to do is be like, well, the public's not freaked out enough. Let's throw the crazy virus into the Large Hadron Collider or something and see what happens. But as far as the market goes, I think it'll work just like always. We can convince people to make the right stuff and do the right things if only we watch the right stuff and pay for the right things.
That's true. And don't go anywhere, folks, because WDW and Valiant are taking off. But we got a few super chats to get through, and we're going to stick around for a little bit longer here. I don't know how much longer Paul has, but
yeah, it's past my hour. I was going to say a little past for an hour.
Oh, we're only going
congratulations again to you, Tom. I mean, it's fantastic to see you guys with a new slot, and for all the rest of you.
WW Pro showed up in Valiant, and I went, man, I got to stay.
It's good to see you guys.
Thanks, Paul.
But take care,
you guys.
Take care.
And Paulie and Paulie.
Whatever, man.
Now we got two Pauls here, but we got Paulie and Paul.
Chato's hit that echelon. I'm a little guy now.
I can hardly wait to hit 100,000 subs, and I don't have to talk to you, fucking.
Then you can really ignore me. Because then you can.
He hasn't changed a bit since Hollywood.
Yeah, no shit has changed, man. This bullshit.
Yeah,
just different people.
Well, I mean, I made a joke is that I want to be famous again so I can be the asshole I've always wanted to be. And of course, some people think I'm that now, but
the asshole that your mom always knew you could be.
You haven't seen shit yet.
Oh, my mom did not want me to be in show business. When I quit my job and told mom I'm doing stand-up, I'm going to do stand-up with Rick Green, she screamed at me on the phone. And it's the only time I ever hung up on my mom.
Oh, wow.
She was just screaming.
Let's get to some of these super chats here, because I feel like they're almost like when your mom calls, you got to answer, right?
Absolutely, I agree.
The Waltman says that you heard that the main writer for Disney Plus's X-Men 97 is telling those who want to work on the show they have to be a fan of the show or take a hike.
Oh, nice.
They're saying that. Hopefully that's the case. I heard some rumors that made me worried about the show early on, but fingers crossed it's good. I don't know
if they're a fan, we're going to get about 12 episodes of Cyclops yelling Gene. Because he did that a lot in the
I hated Cyclops. It was my least favorite.
They never knew how to write him.
Never really well, no. Even Marsden's version was kind of meh at best.
No, they write him as an arrogant guy when he's really supposed to be like the Leonardo of the Ninja Turtles for the X-Men.
That was kind of the closest was Marsden's version, but like he still had a little bit of the...
I just never liked his superpower.
Anything he looks at will be obliterated.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically got like Superman's least cool superpower.
Yeah, and then he opens his eyes to eat his burger and it's gone.
Yeah, fries it up.
That's it. Oh, fuck.
It's gone. It's all ashes now.
Just like there was just so many other better X-Men around him.
Yeah.
For me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even Colossus I like more.
Yeah.
Colossus is cool.
Colossus he's pretty white bread. I think that's the problem. Walter Tomaszewski says, hello, everyone. I think we lost the idea movies are something special ever since they became easily and instantly available on phone via streaming. Well, this is a point I've made about how Disney screwed themselves with their vault, right? By putting all their movies out now on streaming. And yeah, you're right. And Paul made this point earlier too. It's nothing is special anymore. Not like it used to be. Rarely will we get a movie like Top Gun ever again, and I think you're right about that.
Oh, no, it'll happen, but it'll come from someplace we don't expect.
Yeah.
I love watching 2001: A Space Odyssey on my phone.
It's excellent. Isn't it?
But I do it like this, so I get the real full.
So it's like
that's how Kubrick intended it.
That's it. That's exactly how he intended it.
With one speaker.
I had a really bad
He
joke,
fucks
but I'm not gonna
stereophonic,
tell it.
let alone multi-channel. What were you gonna say, Paul?
I was gonna say a real bad stereotype joke, but
Oh,
you know,
okay.
I'll save it for Mexican Iron Man.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
someone will figure it out. It's
Yeah.
just not us.
Well,
My creative train has gone past the station. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I don't have the same fire or intensity that I had before, but I'm enjoying myself just super tons, and someone will take that mantle. It might be James Gunn, who knows? Like, so far everything that he's done has just really amazed me. So he's a very
I think there's a lot of special films this year. You know, it's just like what Paul said, is this they're coming from different places.
Yep.
You least expect it. You know, the Russo brothers did one for Netflix so they could fund money and do their own special movies, like Everything Everywhere All at Once, which they produced. It's an extraordinary film. So special.
I mean, Andre and I were really worried about Beavis and Butthead, and we were pleasantly surprised that turned out to be extremely
on that same level. Yes.
Yes.
Any chance you can get with the
Oscar
Beatles
level.
And the Butthead.
Damn right.
You said butt.
Best movie of the year. Glade Ribbon says there are a lot of small creators that make money off merch. A lot of people have careers making merch the big boys won't make, even fan merch. Well, and then you got, like, look at what Critical Drinker's doing right now with his what's his face?
His movie.
Yeah, what's the name of the character though? It's not Jonathan Drake, is it? Something like that?
No. What's his
I can't
Kickstarter?
remember.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, Ryan Blank?
Ryan Drake or something like that. Yeah. Something like that. I forgot the name. I'm so sorry, Drinker, but yeah, he did it. He started his campaign, and I think he's already quadrupled what he was looking for to do a concept short film.
Cool.
To kind of and yeah, so it's on the horizon, kids. We're getting there. It's just a matter of time. Ryan Drake. That's what I knew it was something Drake. Thank you guys. Yeah.
Rogue Elements, a Ryan Drake short film.
Yeah, so there you go. He's already got it fully funded and then some. So you know, it's happening, kids. Look at what Eric July has accomplished so far with his comic book.
So he wanted $30,000 Canadian. Well, maybe I think he's up Canadian for me.
And how much has he made?
306.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
So he's even gone farther than that. Yeah.
That's a really good budget for a short film.
Fuck yes.
But you know, you're right. Everyone, our friends have channels. They're doing all these creative projects.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big and small. I have a novella coming out.
There you go. That's right. You've been working on that for a while, haven't you?
Yeah. So
I remember you bringing that up a while ago.
I got to keep pushing back the release date because I want to I want to find that right fulfillment house. But you know, it's nowadays, Paul. Anything's possible. I mean, look at your merchandise, you know, and Tom's merchandise. I mean, there's such cool avenues to make a couple bucks.
How I wish I had a canoe.
Yeah, but what's missing? I agree with you. What's missing is the gateway to larger success, and this is a problem in the music industry too. Whereas you'd have a band in a bar, and A&R guy would discover you from Sony Music or what Columbia, and then they would take you under their wing, and you would do 2 shitty albums, and the third one would hit, and people would have some patience for you, and then you'd have a touring band. That stuff is not happening in the music realm as much. And then
more on an independent level on the music side.
It's very difficult to do a $300,000, even that $300,000, it will wear you out if you did nothing but $300,000 movies. We all know how much good movies cost.
Well, I know a lot of I have a lot of musician friends, Paul. Babe,
would you like to introduce me?
They don't speak English.
You liked my stripper.
They don't speak Canadian.
You did like my stripper joke. I know. I saw that.
Oh, nice. You know, and you know what? I got 2 cousins that are strippers, so I wasn't joking. And I said, because I saw Chato's feature tweet where he went. You set it up. You set it up.
Well, I just said, strippers with tattoos just makes the whole thing so sordid and seedy.
And I commented. I said, "Hey, stop talking shit about my cousin." And because I just saw a couple of them.
Holy crap!
Hey, they're doing really well.
Hey,
I'm not gonna knock it.
I have a family member turning tricks in Sydney, Australia.
I'm not gonna knock it.
They're a magician?
Yes.
Yeah.
They make things disappear and reappear and disappear and reappear.
Pulling something out of their ass.
And I'm not going to tell you guys where they dance.
No.
City or state.
But while we got a second here, but Mr. Buttcrack Media sent in a milestone. He's been a member for 6 months. Yeah. And then Olaf Van Ness has been a member for 15 months as well. Thank you for that. We appreciate that. And then I did a poll earlier before the show started, and you guys voted.
Speaking of strippers.
That's right. Speaking, hell of a segue there again. Look at that, Paul. What was the best part of the week so far? According to the audience, Black Adam was actually good with 49% of the vote. Rings of Power ended 30%, and She-Hulk ended with 20% of the vote. There you go.
Okay.
That's the week, kids. That's what you voted on. That's what you saw.
Tom and I started the conversation thinking that we need to now have 2 scales for reviewing.
Yeah.
The superhero movie scale out of 5 and regular decent artistic
popcorn movie scale, and then the
popcorn movie scale versus
and then
traditional movie scale. What do you think of that, Script Doctor?
What was that? Sorry.
2 scales. We need a popcorn movie scale and a traditional movie scale.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah, I think that that makes sense. I would say Black Adam scores pretty high on the popcorn movie side.
Yeah.
And I mean, I saw it yesterday morning with a bunch of colleagues, and our reaction was unfortunately disappointed because we really liked the entrance that Black Adam had in his film, like his arrival, his fights, and all that stuff. But what threw me off a lot, aside from the opening narration by the child, because I didn't dig that. I don't like being told stuff. I want to see it. Is there are so many questions I had going into it, and there were seeds of potential spread throughout, but at the end of the showing, I'm like, they pretty much filmed their first draft of the screenplay. Like it's literally a first draft because there's a lot of time wasted on things that don't really matter. There's good ideas that are seated in there that you really want to explore, and you should never introduce heroes, even if they're secondary characters, sitting in the backseat of a limousine. If they're heroes, like it's just the most boring introduction you can possibly give to the other characters, and it bothered me a bit because I after hearing Andre's review and ours 30-minute lauding of it,
rave up.
I was like, yeah, I'm ready to go see this. I'm ready to have some fun, and I had a little bit of fun with some of the stuff, but it was like, why? Like you have the bad guy of Intergang, and then all of a sudden they disappear and they're replaced by zombies, and Hawkman is so underdeveloped, even though the scenes that he does have, they're really good, and you're like, I want more of him. And Dr. Fate is also terribly underdeveloped, and the other 2 characters are not even needed. I made the joke, like Cyclone and Atom Smasher, she blows and he grows. Like that's what it is. Like that's all you get out of them. And she's dressed like Pippi Longstockings, which was weird as well. But I figured like, yeah, it was okay. I wish they gave more for The Rock, because I think he actually found something there that we haven't seen him do before, and I'm like, I wanted more of that, because he didn't really have much agency in this movie. He kind of just did what other people told him to do, and he didn't even have any questions about it. He's like, oh sure, I'll kill this guy. You want me to say the catchphrase and then kill him? Okay, I can do that. It's like, why do you even care? Like, why? Give me a reason why you care.
I'm not surprised. The script
now
is
you're
getting
into the details of a movie that doesn't deserve such analysis.
That's Script Doctor, though.
That is Script
like,
Doctor.
yeah, it's like it really doesn't deserve the analysis, but at the same time, it's like I enjoy watching The Rock, and I enjoyed Dwayne Johnson's performances and stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
For someone who
it was a good time. That's it. It's
kinda.
like Morbius. It's fun. Yeah, there's a lot of things wrong with it.
Look,
But
script would give
where's my-
Showbiz Pizza's performance a bad review.
No,
I
know
understand
script.
that.
That's why
It's
I'm
just-
talking like this.
The two main
I just want the
problems for me-
best out of these guys because they throw so much money at it. It's like $200 million. It should not have the obvious flaws it has.
I
Correct.
love Hawkman.
I
absolutely
would
love Hawkman.
suggest that
Sorry.
the general audience probably was okay with the things that you're actually complaining about. I mean,
I think they do. I think they are. Yeah, I have no problem with
my
that.
biggest problem was the CG final boss,
Yeah.
which I always hate. Only
I would
Thanos.
prefer the
kind of
practical makeup boss. Like,
Yeah.
give me some prosthetics and fun.
Yep.
Guys, I
And
will also say
and the
anyone who's on the fence was-
Spielbergian what child?
It's like Spielberg meets James Cameron child character.
Yes, and I went, oh my god! I hung my head. Skateboard, okay, cute.
Skateboarding on the landings and then walking down the stairs, skateboard on the landing, walk down the stairs. I'm like, just walk, just
Wow.
freaking walk, kid.
Wow.
And so
Guys.
he actually, and he had his secret, shoot to get out, and it
Yeah.
was so cute. And oh my god, I just missed the Skittles or peanut flavored something or others for him to lead around the place.
So let me get this right. Y'all bitch and complain when it's a woke garbage movie, but when they give you a little bit of retro
Hey!
stuff, you gonna bitch and complain about it too.
I still
Woke
gave it.
doesn't give you a free pass in my book, man.
I
No,
still
but that's
gave
all
it.
it did. It was a complete popcorn flick.
Yeah, but
you
we're just
know?
here. We're amongst friends here. We're now
Oh, yeah.
bitching.
Well, I'm bitching.
I'm having. I mean, listen. I would strongly advise people if you want a good action scene, you want to see The
I'm bitching
Rock do
back.
something a little different, go see Black Adam. I'm fine with that. Like,
Yeah,
well, in all fairness,
it's really much a one and done film. Which, again, for the
Yeah.
price tag, it feels
No, you're right, bro. You're right.
feels unfortunate because I want them to do better and I want them to do more. But like, if this was like an $80 million film, I'd be like, boom, yeah, it makes sense. Fine, perfect, good, go for it.
Well, two things. Can I say?
Yeah, sure.
Oh shit, I already forgot one.
Stripper. Your cousin.
Up front, to be
Well-
honest, I mean, Lee Scripps said it was a fun popcorn movie, and let's be real. At this point, you got to be a little bit more sensitive to Warner Brothers' needs script doctor.
Oh.
They graduated from eating crayons
Now I remember.
to actually eating fries. So there you go. I mean,
or nachos. Not
or
nacho level
nachos,
yet.
whatever. Yeah, you know.
No, my only nitpick of this movie is the fact they didn't give him pointed ears. That's it. That's my
You
nitpick.
have a lot of nitpicks, bro. You have not a lot of.
These are broad
nitpicks.
things, man.
So
Yeah,
two
Script
things why I
Doctor's
think
right.
people should see it, right? Like in our community and and all that stuff. One, I think we're giving it your money. It's good. It's popcorn flick. It's good. But if we can get a sequel, probably even we'll have an even better script. The Rock can really sink his teeth into, and we'll get Cavill. We'll get Cavill back as Superman. It's just let's.
Yeah, I mean,
let's get that going.
Ultimately, the issue is, and even though I gave it a 3 out of 5, Back to the Future was a popcorn film.
Yeah,
Come on.
but it also had a
Come
lot
on.
of heart to it.
I was
Come
going to say
on.
that's the thing is that works. On
And so
two
we
different
have
levels, though,
we
yeah.
have.
You got another
degraded-
hour. You got another hour, Chato. Come on.
We you don't think it's a good popcorn film? Back to the Future?
Back to the
Oh,
Future.
it totally is. It works on
a-
both levels, though.
No, Back to the Future is seminal. It's more than a
Yeah.
popcorn film. Yes,
And-
yes,
oh,
it is a popcorn.
It is,
film.
but it
Yes.
definitely fits
But my
into
point
the
is, it
popcorn
was a
film.
popcorn film of its era, and our standards have been degraded.
That is a good point.
No, your standards have been degraded, Paul. Mine are still much.
Oh, look at shit.
Whoa!
But no, but here's a great example.
I'm
Look at
just
the
joking.
biggest film of the year, Top Gun, right? Like it's
Yeah.
what have I said about it? It's a decent film, don't get me wrong. But it is almost literally the same fucking movie, just add Star Wars to it. That's all it really is. It's the same beats as the first original film.
Oh, it's better than the first film.
It is. I'll agree. As a movie, it works better than the original film does. The original movie comes off like a music video and a commercial for the Air Force. That's really what it comes off as. Like, there's not a real storyline there. There's events that happen and shit that goes on, and then at the end of the movie, they have a bit of a battle. At least this one was leading up to that battle the whole time. In the first movie, it just kind of feels tacked on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will agree. Like, and as far as a movie goes, objectively or subjectively, in both cases, this is a better film. The second one is, but in that sense, like, Top Gun is still a fucking popcorn movie. it's not Gandhi. It's not, you know.
No,
Gandhi. So
but
boring.
I would say that Edge of Tomorrow was a better movie than the first Top Gun.
I would agree with you as far
yeah,
as
I'd agree with
like
that too.
Fantastic. Yeah.
subjectively, yeah.
Even though it
and
didn't make
objectively,
money.
yes.
But,
Both cases, yes.
To me, as a
Both cases.
complete experience, Edge of Tomorrow is a fantastic sci-fi.
It's really good time loops story.
Yeah.
They do it quite well. And time loops were the answer to time travel for a while there, because people, it's like, I don't want to do time travel, but there's people like, no, it's a time loop, which means it's the same standing set. We don't leave it. And they're like, oh wait, we can do that. Those were, God, 8 years straight. I get nothing. I get maybe 4 or 5 time loop scripts in my inbox to read and do coverage
Okay.
for.
Let me ask the two Canadians then, right? Okay.
Okay.
Put your Black Adam cap on, right?
Okay.
Sure.
All right. And you're gonna go better, worse. All right. I'll name another movie. You say it was better, it was better, or it was worse. Okay, you guys ready?
Ready.
Sure.
Shang-Chi.
Oh,
Same.
It's better. It's better than Shang-Chi.
Just say better.
Black Adam's better. Sorry, what am I supposed to say better to? The movie that you're asking, or Black Adam?
Black Adam is either better or worse than what the movie I give you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
I haven't.
I'm waiting for Paul to go first.
Better.
Wow.
Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, I'd say it's the same. It's on par.
Yeah. I'm mad at Multiverse because it was bait and switch. It wasn't a Doctor Strange movie. So I'm mad at that. Black Adam didn't make me mad. Doctor Strange did, but there was more meat in Doctor Strange. So even. I'll make it even.
Script?
Yeah, I'd say Doctor Strange and Black Adam are even.
Wow. Okay.
Thor, remember, we're in Canada. Our dollar's been heavily devalued for the last 20 years, so we really understand the value of what goes into a production budget.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thor,
and The Rock is half Canadian, so.
Yeah, because he was a Stampeder for a season.
Yeah, and he was his mom came from Nova Scotia or New Brunswick.
Okay, Black Adam or Thor and Love and Thunder?
Oh, Black Adam.
Black Adam.
Better.
Yeah, Black Adam's better.
Black Adam or Morbius?
I didn't see Morbius.
Black Adam or Venom, Let There Be Carnage?
Black Adam. You're talking about the second Venom.
Yeah,
that was horrible.
I can't remember the second Venom, so I'll go with Black Adam.
Okay. I think I'm done.
Okay. No, that's a great exercise.
It's fun.
Yeah.
That was fun, Paulie.
Because, those are the last of like the past year and a half of stuff.
Pretty much.
I'm not going to say Spider-Man because
no. That was a killer movie.
Oh, Black Widow or Black Adam?
I'd go for Black Widow, except for the ending.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to say Black Widow had a bit more effort on the story side of things.
More stuff went on.
More stuff went on, and I like the fact that they implied that Captain America was still being Captain America as a spy when he went back in time because he fought Red Guardian.
Last one, Black Adam or the Eternals?
Oh my God, easy.
Jesus.
Black Adam.
Black Adam. The
Eternals was torture.
Yeah, the Eternals was. Yeah, I almost walked out.
Yeah, and then Juan Carlos wants to know, hey Tom and Script Doctor, are you going to bring back A-rated B movies? You could invite Call Me Chato. Yeah, well, actually, we're talking about doing it next week for Halloween.
Yeah,
right,
this
Script?
Saturday, right? Yeah,
I think that's the plan.
This Saturday, right in time for Halloween too.
Yes, the Michael J. Fox classic. Yes. But yeah, Paul's welcome anytime if there's a movie we come up with. But what that is a show we talk about movies that aren't necessarily A-rated B movies or B-rated A movies. We just talk about whatever. But yeah, it's kind of we debate that whole thing. Yeah, it's kind of a catchy title, but we kind of debate that aspect of it as well. But we just talk about a movie. Sometimes we get a guest in there to talk with us as well. But
whatever happened to Baby Jane? There's a good Halloween movie.
That would be a good A-rated or probably would that be a B-rated A movie? Probably.
I think so. Yeah.
That was a pretty big studio film, wasn't it?
Oh, it was scary as heck when I first saw it.
But yeah, thank you to the chat for making this show successful tonight. I think we're gonna wrap it up here soon, though. I mean, normally we'd probably go a little longer in this, but Mikey and the gang are off doing things, Cultures doing things, and we'd probably have more guests coming in and out on a normal given week, and then we'd have Culture show following this as a wrap up of the whole day. But he is out with his brother tonight celebrating his birthday, so happy birthday to Culture's brother. And Camelbot Killer sends in $2 and says, I say Marvel films are trash. Black Adam is better. When you're talking about the last few films, sans Spider-Man, I could see that. I haven't seen the film, but I mean, when I'm sitting there going like, you know, the best superhero movie I've seen in a while is fucking Morbius. And that's just
Hey,
I know that's a piece of shit. So.
I enjoyed it for what it was. Yeah.
I thought that other Villeneuve movie, his remake of Blade Runner, was just the worst piece of garbage I'd ever seen. I'd watch Black Adam over.
It was something.
Over
see it.
Blade Runner. What, 20?
You could cut an hour out of that and probably have a good
easy.
movie.
Yeah, like Kamal and I just said that at the same time. Easy.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, very easy.
I would get rid of the made up fight stuff with Harrison Ford. Like, where did it come from? What was the motivation for any of that?
Lord knows. They're measuring dicks. Who knows?
I love the people who adore that film. It's if someone said that Black Adam was quantitatively a bad film, I'd go, I honestly can't disagree with you.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Anyone who says that Blade Runner is brilliant, they're wrong. I'm talking about the Villeneuve one, not the original.
Well, the problem with the Villeneuve one is what happens when somebody tries to emulate Ridley Scott. And Ridley Scott is one of those directors I have a love-hate relationship with. Motherfucker just can't make a movie and leave it the hell alone, first of all. Like, his best movie ever is going to always be Alien. Sorry, you peaked early on.
Gladiator?
I was not as big of a fan as Gladiator as everybody. Like, to me, that's one of his.
They got the thumbs wrong in Gladiator.
Well, not just that. To me, it's
thumbs up is to kill him, and thumbs down is to keep him alive.
Yeah, that's just the minimal as far as I'm concerned. At the time it came out, I felt overhyped. It was almost as overhyped as Titanic to me.
You know what? It's great to talk to a bunch of people who are passionate about movies, entertainment, and TV shows. I think that's the coolest part that we do.
Yeah. But I mean, I do love certain aspects of Ridley Scott.
You got to watch Reboot, Tom.
I know people have been pushing it. I see a trailer for it.
I'm doing a review of Reboot. I think its only problem is that it's about a subject matter no one cares about.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, now the show, I saw a trailer.
Super well written.
What's it on? Just so everybody knows. It's on
Hulu.
Is it Hulu
or Disney Plus?
It's
Hulu
on
or
Disney Plus.
Okay.
It is really well written.
Okay.
The fourth show wasn't so good. The fifth show was fantastic. Third show was excellent.
Yeah, I love the looping episode. That was funny.
But
Well, if you haven't seen The Offer yet, I cannot recommend.
I can't get it. We can't get it.
Oh my gosh!
Stop telling me about it.
It's coming out on video pretty soon, so you might be able to get your hands on it.
Yeah, stop talking it up, dude. Just wait.
I can't get it.
I'll find out the date for you. If not, send me your address. I'll Amazon you a copy of it. That show is one of the greatest shows, I tell you.
We did see Werewolf by Night today on Disney.
No, it's been getting good reviews. What'd you think of that?
What'd you think?
We loved it. It wasn't scary. We were just like, oh, this is like, you know, a homage like to the 50s monsters and stuff. I mean, and the actors were great. Yeah, it was really cool. Nice little ending. You know, I would like another episode. Like that would be cool. Another special.
Yeah.
So did you see it?
I'm going to give Peripheral another shot. Episode 2. I want to see episode 2 of Peripheral on Amazon.
Yeah, he was talking about that before you guys got in here.
Before you got on.
Oh, okay.
I haven't checked it out yet.
I'd be interested to hear what you have to say without polluting your brain thingy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of William Gibson because he's good at coining stuff, but knows dick all about computers.
Oh, yeah.
Drives me
I've
nuts.
met some people who've made that. I mean, his cyberpunk stuff for Neuromancer was fun to read.
Yeah, but it was his catchphrase, but he knew nothing about it. Like I told Tom that I'm absolutely certain Neil Stephenson wrote Snow Crash because he thought Gibson was full of shit and he would write a really good sci-fi a techno story that was actually based on what we knew
science.
at the...
Yeah. No, I think you might be right there.
It a lot.
Pardon me?
Peripheral. They've been promoting it a lot.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. And I got into it by the very end, and now I will. There's lots of things I don't like about it as a gamer, which we won't get into now.
Juan is excited to hear the return of A-rated B movies and B-rated A movies, and I'm glad to hear that, Juan. Actually, I'm working on
I forgot about that.
I guess you would call a sister show to it. I think it was either Paul or one of our other guests on the morning show who actually inspired the title. The show is going to be called There Will Be Spoilers. And it's going to be basically where we just tear apart a movie, whether it's for better or worse. I haven't decided exactly what route we're going to go with it yet. Script is probably the only person I know that will probably be interested in it offhand, but we'll see.
But Script is right. If you're going to spend $200 million on a movie, the script has got to be perfect. Like, get someone, like anyone.
You should be anymore, especially the amount of years they put into this. And not only that, The Rock boasted, and he's right, they've been working on this for the better part of a decade. The reason the New Line logo's in the front of the movie is because this movie actually originated over at New Line back then.
Wow.
And you've had that many years now. How has this script not been,
refined, polished, and fine-tuned to something absolutely fantastic? It's, again, it's a first draft. I mean, it's a good first draft for a first draft. I mean, I would say it's got that going for it. I mean, I've read much worse first drafts, but I was just like, $200 million. If I had $200 million for production, I would be the most anal retentive person, just trying to make the best thing possible to make sure everything is done and make it in a way to the point where the audience is just completely enveloped in the experience and not even pulled out by saying, wait, if this is this part of the role, why doesn't this happen? I hate when that happens to me.
It's too much money. I'd have to do it for a lot less.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm more of like the $50 to $80 million pictures. I think those are the sweet spots for actually having fun and creativity. And
20 million.
Well, do you think the big reason why this movie costs so much is because they got the Justice Society and all that kind of stuff in it? If they pay, okay, so I was figuring there's special effects and stuff like that.
I was disappointed with the Dr. Fate special effects. They looked very cheap.
Although I love Brosnan, he was great.
I did love
Looks
him.
Doesn't mean they were cheap.
Oh no, it depends on when they were hired and what their turnaround date was.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just because it looks like it doesn't mean it didn't cost a shit ton.
Hey, Miguel.
And Miguel sends in a super chat here and says, Paul Chato, how about Werner Vinge instead then?
I don't know who Werner Vinge is.
It sounds familiar. Werner Vinge.
And thank you. Miguel bought 2 Mr. Canoe heads. They are they're on their way.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
I gotta get
Miguel.
You just remind me. I gotta get.
He did a Fire Upon the Deep. He's an author.
Thanks,
I was gonna say I'm looking it up now. He's an author. It looks like a sci-fi author. Okay,
I don't know Werner Vinge.
Yeah,
My favorite sci-fi author is Stanislaw Lem.
Totally unfamiliar. Well, thank you for that, Miguel, and we appreciate that.
I will look up Werner Vinge. Are we done?
Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much, Paul, for making this first show a success. Thank you to WDW Pro and WDW Pro for hopping in, and Valiant and Script and Pauly. So check out everybody's channel. I don't think I missed anybody. But check out Call Me Chato. That's actually Paul's actual channel name. He does some great work over there. Of course, he's working on his latest TV guide, and I just sit here waiting. It
takes a long time.
He keeps doing She-Hulk videos and shit. I'm like, get to the good stuff.
I have a sketch coming up. I think I'll tell you what it is. It's a British actor. I'll try my British acting again, and I'm going to put a backdrop of some kind of Rings of Power set, and talking about being on Rings of Power in season 2, and I'm recording it now, but they've moved the recording from New Zealand to one of the Amazon warehouses in the UK, and in between shots, and the set goes up, and I'm going to show the big lineup of conveyor belts just to save money. The actors between shots have got to pack Amazon boxes. So that's going to be my sketch.
That's one way to amortize their expenses on that.
There you go. There you go. You've got to get your money back somehow. Get the actors to pack Amazon shipping boxes.
So yeah,
normally nothing ideas, a constant, not nonstop.
I'm just waiting for your TV guide review, because I predict that when you start talking about Quincy, you'll be like, this was ripped off from CBC's Wojak.
Yes, I will. It's already there.
With Vernon, John Vernon. And I can't believe this. I went to the CBC office and they don't have it available to watch.
Did they tape over it?
No, they just haven't. They have the originals. They just don't sell it.
No, they can't, because the contracts for a lot of the old shows are so bad that I talked with Actor about this already, because back in '90 I was trying to resurrect these old shows. Actor refused to create a category that would allow you to get these shows digitally converted for less than the cost of actually doing the show again. So literally, you had to pay out everybody their original costs.
Yeah.
Stupid contract situation.
And Actor refused to negotiate anything that would bring the shows back. So the contracts are so bad that they can't bring the contract. They can't transfer.
Yeah, the only way they're being transferred is if someone VHS recorded them and then copied them and then distributed them illegally. Yeah.
Yep. Can't do the originals. Anyway, that was one of the things that made me really unhappy when I was there.
No, when I went to the CBC office and asked them, they said, "We've got it. We just can't do anything."
Nope.
And it's like,
nope.
I was like, who do I have to strangle?
Yeah, they were good shows. Quincy copied them. But anyway, yes, I will be talking about, and Quincy is in this version of
excellent
fall preview. Anyways.
Well, Six is sharing everybody's links. It looks like I thought we got this one, but maybe we didn't. I'm looking for it here. It looks like we may have missed a super chat, but
don't want to do that.
There's like a new one too.
Yeah, I'll get to that one, and when I get to the old one here, I thought we got that one. That one.
Oh yeah. How much longer do I got? Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I figured as much. Yeah, I'm not finding it for some reason.
Gotta find it.
If not, I'll check over on the other side.
Will there be more weekly wrap-ups from Mecha J?
Okay, we missed this one too. It looks like Vincent repeat. Did you get a chance to watch 2 new episodes of Winchesters? No.
Don't know it. Is that it's just a shot of a camera shot of a chair, the Winchester chair?
Is that show that's about the Winchester family deal? I think you were talking about it, Paulie, or somebody was.
Oh, the Supernatural.
I mean, is it a Western? The Winchesters?
No, it's like a horror movie. I think Script's right, but he was cutting out.
It's the prequel to Supernatural, the CW show. They just did the Winchesters, and they just did a prequel to Walker, where it's a woman.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Like Walker, Texas Ranger
prequel,
and it's a woman.
Oh, really? We need that.
Yeah, I'm aware of it, but I have not seen it yet. Yeah, but you're back now. But yeah, you were saying Winchesters is a spin-off of Supernatural? Prequel?
God, so much.
It's a prequel to Supernatural.
Okay, yeah, I remember somebody was talking about it. No, I haven't had a chance to, and it doesn't look like anybody else here has either. Sorry about that, Vince.
So on an interesting streaming note, my T-Mobile account, they recently added Apple Plus to it.
Whoa.
And I've already had Netflix. So like my price hasn't changed. Like my bill doesn't change. They just added Apple Plus.
Nice.
Well, cool.
So I'm like,
and here's the other one. I'm sorry, Corey, I missed this one earlier. Says, hi guys, I'd love to hear the panel's thoughts, or even just one of you. If you pull up the Annenberg Inclusion Initiative webpage, peruse and scroll, just impressions of what you see there.
Wow, another thing I know nothing about.
I don't know what that is.
Not sure what this is.
USC is Annenberg.
What is it called? Annenberg.
University of California, Annenberg?
USC, yep. University of Southern California.
Southern
Inclusion
California.
Initiative.
Initiative Accelerator Programs.
And there's a super chat from someone.
Oh, it's that Darius.
Darius.
Thumbs up. Yeah.
All right. Okay, it looks like this is Moving the Needle, Celebration of Women in Music. Okay.
Yeah, if
the
you scroll down, you'll see.
Talking about groupies?
Yeah.
No, you'll see who's involved. Project advisors for this accelerated
J.J.
program.
Abrams, yeah. Interesting.
Catherine Bigelow.
Kevin Feige,
really?
Catherine Bigelow.
Oh,
a whole
boy.
bunch of them. Women already. What the?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Huh.
I didn't know women had a problem breaking into music.
Oh, yeah. Beyonce, Cardi B,
Yeah.
Taylor
like
Swift. They are having
Megan
a
Thee
horrible,
Stallion.
they're having a
horrible
horrible
time.
time.
Well, Taylor
Horrible
Swift had her
time.
father buy a record label for her, so
Still.
that's kind of.
But she's still Taylor fucking Swift at this point. So
Oh,
what
yeah.
difference does it make?
But it's all women, right? It's
I have no
all-
issue with that, but I'm just like, what is it? Are they trying to pretend that women just don't have? Like, I mean, here's the thing: you can get a lot farther as a woman in singing. Like, look at Adele, right? For every 10 Adeles, you get one Meatloaf.
And Adele
Yeah.
her voice cracks when she sings, and yet she's still popular. Which,
Yeah.
God.
And she supposedly, like, I haven't heard her live recently, but she sounds like she's kind of lost her voice since she lost the weight. But sorry about that, Corey, but we got that now. And yeah, I can see where you're going with that, and JJ and all those guys involved. Lord almighty. Okay, it is what it is, though.
Let's wrap it up.
Darius sends us a thumbs up, you guys said. Thank you for that. Mecha J says, great show. Will there be more weekly wrap-ups? Yes. And then we'll normally go longer than this, but tonight Culture is not in, so we're not going that late tonight. And since Paul is heading out now, we're going to end the
it's my
show. So
bedtime
thank
right
you all.
now.
Yeah,
And it's
I'm
Script Doctor's
68.
bedtime.
This is way past my bedtime. This is way past my bedtime. You kidding?
I don't have time for this.
Oh my God, you'd be my father's age. If you
He
were
says
still
it's
alive.
not just
thanks.
music. So
Thanks,
evidently it goes farther than music too. Well, I'll have to look into that a little bit
No,
more.
it's
Thank
film.
you for bringing that to my
I have
attention,
had
Corey.
people go, wow, I wish my dad was as cool as you. So Script Doctor.
My dad was as cool as you. I just wish he was still alive. That's all. You two would get along
Oh,
gloriously.
that's sweet to hear. I had nothing to do with his death.
No, that is true.
And on that weird, strange, awkward note, we're going to wrap this up. But thank you, Corey, for bringing that to my attention. And I'm going to look into that a little deeper. Thank you. And thank you, Paul, for being here. Thank you, WDW Pro. Thank
So
you,
good to
Valiant.
see
Thank
you
you, Script.
guys.
Thank you, Polly. And thank you, guys, for watching. Take care.
Hopefully you all.
Bye.